From the moment we are born, we are conditioned to think and believe that the external physical world in which we live and move is reality. Reality, according to this conditioning, is that everything around us exists in its physical form. Whereas science has demonstrated as an irrefutable fact that reality is formed by our senses and is the translation of the input from our senses in our brain. The fact is, what we perceive to be reality portrayed by our eyes is nothing more than a light wave frequency that reflects from any object, passes through the retina, and travels from the eye to the brain. Our sense of scent and hearing work the same way. A scent passes through the nose via nasal receptors and to the brain as an electrical frequency, just as a sound travels through the ear to the brain as an electrical frequency. Frequencies of all kinds, some of which originate from objects or beings that are not yet known to us, reach the brain the same way. The brain converts all these waves within itself and portrays the images that we see. These facts lead to the conclusion that everything we see, smell, and hear, without exception, is nothing else than what is called a multi-dimensional holographic world. Do these images that we perceive exist outside our created multi-dimensional holographic world? They probably do, because the frequencies emanating from these objects create these perceptions. However, none of the objects that exist on the outside exist in their original form, shaped by our mind. The question rises, in which form these objects do exist in the mind? In our mind, we have a collection of pictures that are formed by electrical frequencies from every one of you and from each and every object we perceive with our senses. What happens when we record a video? The camera records the sounds and images, but the camera doesn't record my inner thoughts and feelings and what's happening inside my body. It only records pictures of the outer shelf, which are created by electrical frequencies. So in the holographic world in my mind, you all exist as a sort of video album of individual frames created by electrical frequencies. When I say I am thinking of you, I remember you, this means that I recall the video album of you in my mind. I watch the recorded video albums, called memory, by recalling them from the archive cache memory in my mind. So, when saying I mean an entity which lives in a multidimensional, holographic life in my mind. This is the same with each and every one of us. Anyone who exists as a mind lives and experiences according to this system I just described. Well then, how is it possible that a visual image can exist in my brain? The answer is simple. Do you have dreams? Yes, you do. Where does a dream take place? Is it something that happens somewhere outside where you can watch it? The answer is no. Perhaps it would be better if you did not call it a dream, but a multidimensional holographic world. In the same token, the things that you live and experience when you are awake can be referred to as daydreams. In reality, you do not live in the external world, but you live in a world that is created by yourself. Just like you enter a different world from your partner sleeping next to you when you go to sleep. Your waking hours are also spent within your internal dream world, separate from the world of others. The fact that you communicate and interact with your partner does not mean that you share your partner's world. Your partner lives his or her life, and you live yours. There is only some interaction between your worlds. You feel as if you live in a materialized world. This is not the case. You live within your brain. You live in the holographic world in your brain. In fact, there is more to it than just this. There is a dark side as well. We now know that the brain is a network composed of hundreds of billions of neurons. The brain is dark. It harbors no light. Even though there is no light in our brain, the brain is able to use its ability to convert frequencies to create the illusion that we call sight. Allah has bestowed the brain with such an extraordinary ability that it is able to create the illusion of light and images where neither exists. We call our physical cognitive center a brain and see it as part of our body. That is what we have been taught. But as I mentioned before, we know that the brain is a network composed of hundreds of billions of neurons. During the past 5 years, it has been determined that each neuron within our brain works with its own distinctive frequency. Let's revert back to discussing the eye and sight. The frequencies of waves that are transmitted from the eye to the brain range between 4,000 and 7,000 angstrom. In the same manner that light emits a frequency that we can detect, sound also emits a frequency range. The human ear can detect vibrations which pass through our eardrums ranging from 16 to 16,000 hertz. Other frequencies that exist are radar frequencies, AM frequencies, FM frequencies, etc. How do these frequencies exist? Let's say you were to draw a line with a razor, and we call that line the range of frequencies visible to the human eye. Above and below this range of frequencies are an infinite range of frequencies that our eyes cannot perceive. The frequencies we can perceive comprise no more than a razor-thin line of a mere 3,000 angstrom. somewhere in between these two ranges of frequencies are frequencies that we perceive in the form of sense or as taste. In fact, the universe is an infinite range of frequencies. The universe, our world, other worlds, in fact, existence in itself, are nothing but in an ocean of frequencies. In this ocean of waves, entities perceive each other by detecting and converting each other's frequencies. The true essence of all beings, our world, the sun, our galaxy, and the universe itself is nothing but a network of frequencies. Each living entity emits a certain range of frequencies, and each entity perceives these and frequencies and form their holographic universe with what they perceive. So, there are an infinite number of configurations within an endless amount of dimensions in the universe. Therefore, the amount of living entities within a universe consisting of infinite configurations and dimensions are infinite. And as all entities exist within the frequencies they can perceive, they are oblivious to the infinite amount of other entities in other ranges of frequencies. In fact, there are no different dimensions. Originally, there is only one configuration and one dimension. This dimension can be described as an ocean of frequencies. This ocean of frequencies is broken down into an infinite number of frequency ranges, combinations, and configurations.